With the flick of her pen, she writes.
Hello, friends. Hello. We're back with the Stallion Returns. Back with some more chapters of the audiobook. And this whole audiobook is being recorded in August 2024. Kind of late summertime. And it's kind of cloudy outside. There's a little kind of spooky little wind coming through the window because there's a lot of wind right now. And I have the window opened in such a way that you may hear the wind kind of woefully whistling in the background. I think it just kind of adds to the atmosphere of these chapters. This is chapter 13, The Way Home. As Pamela and Miguel reached the General Waters Spa, she was disappointed to see the weather change. It had been threatening rain all week, and now it appeared a storm was rolling in. She might not get to soak outside in the hot springs if a lightning storm was occurring at the same time. Better safe than sorry, she thought, trying to keep her mind away from Thunder Rose and all that it meant to her in more ways than she wanted to acknowledge at the present moment. She could feel a deep sense of something coming up from inside her, and she wondered what she was trying to prove. What was she doing here with this stranger? And more importantly, where was all this going? It wasn't the wanton sex in the back of a car or the feeling it gave her. It was the dignity and purity of her heart and soul that were calling her to up and take notice. She couldn't take this back, whatever it was. And there were people, her people, who depended on her to be something she couldn't quite understand. She felt foreign to herself, to her values, and most of all to her sense of pride, the pride she felt of all that she had accomplished in her life. She felt like she was a nobody right now. She had wanted to disappear, to live a little more than she had in a while, but maybe not this way. Not cheating and scheming to have her way with some man she didn't even know. She wanted her man, and this was definitely not him. Although as the darker light that had followed her into this affair continued to try to gain the upper hand, she felt a strong urge to chuck it all away and run from home with him. Miguel, who drove in complete unawareness of the thoughts grappling about in poor Pam, could only sit and feel into what he wanted in this whole affair. He wanted what others like him did. He didn't care for women in that way. He didn't care for this one in the way that she needed someone to care for her. Just another horny old rich Texas girl who needed to hear that she wasn't too old to make a man happy. He heard his mind kick in. He didn't want to hear his mind right now, because if he did, it would start telling him things he didn't want to hear at all. It would start telling him to do bad things, and he hadn't wanted to do bad things for a while now. He wanted to have fun. So in order to quell the mind demon, he had to think and outsmart it. It didn't like frivolity or passion or sex or anything having to do with women. So he needed more of all of that. He planned it out in the split seconds as he drove through the gates of General Waters Spa. He needed money, and he needed sex, and so in doing so, he needed Pam. No bad thing, he thought, laughing at the mind demon. Only outright fun and frivolity and sex. And so they both designed what they thought would be the answer to the mind demons playing out the same old sordid tales that they wanted to. And Pam and Miguel were the perfect hosts. Little did either of them know that a strategically placed dark form of magic had been placed inside the ethers and delivered by an equally evil-minded black stallion and its master. For the dark hearts of man sometimes lead them astray. And a little dead boy from many moons ago needed to be avenged. Even if the person being destroyed had nothing to do with the matter, the agonized hearts of the one that placed the spell didn't really see things from the same reality as most people. They had lost their son, and now someone had to pay. Pamela Cartwright and Thunder Rose Ranch being the unwitting victims of the dark plan. Now this is the time in the story, reader, when you're asked to light a white candle and say a silent and uplifting prayer for Pamela and Edgar and everyone at Thunder Rose, because the light needs an upper hand in this tale. And in the knowing of this, all will prevail, and the light will rise. Do we need Moxie right now to slay the dark beast with her love light? Perhaps, but we are not there yet. More of the story needs to be told so that readers and listeners like yourself come to a different understanding of how you each hold the key to conquering your own inner demons. And so for now, we continue. Chapter 14, The Stigmata. Pamela and Miguel checked into their room, a sweet little suite of rooms with plenty of space for frolicking and who knows what else. Maybe they could invite one of those hot young waitstaff girls up to party with them. That could definitely be fun, Miguel thought, at the feeling of having two hot girls swooning over him. Double the pleasure, double the fun, he thought. Pamela threw her purse down and sat on the fluffy sofa. She needed something to keep going. She was starting to lose her mojo. "Hey, lover, how about you order us up some drinks?" she said, unbuttoning her blouse and slipping it off to expose her very ample breasts. "Can it wait?" Miguel said, feeling that same rise he had the first time he'd seen them. "My cock needs you now," he said, brushing her nipple with the back of his hand. "Well, when you put it like that," she said, "pass me a flask," she almost demanded as he tossed it to her from his jacket pocket. In one swift move, he was naked and on top of her. She took a long drink and stroked him until his hard-on almost doubled in size. She wiped her mouth with her hand and lowered her lips onto him, sucking hard. He moaned and felt very lucky as she moved to kneel down in front of him. He would actually get paid for this, he thought, feeling like a rich king letting some scullery maid have her way. He liked it, and so did Pam. He pulled her down onto the bed and moved over her body until his tongue touched her between the legs. She opened wide and allowed him to use his tongue to part her lips as he suckled her. She came hard and he moved on top of her, entering her just in time to come inside her. As they moaned together, the cell phone rang. She fell back against the pillows and pulled one over her head. Let it stop, she thought, as she drowsily fell into a deep sleep. Pam uncovered her eyes. She had a strange feeling at the back of her neck. "What is this?" she thought to herself. She picked up her bag to get her makeup mirror. It was actually burning now. Her phone dropped to the floor. She saw the screen flash with 4 missed calls from Edgar and 2 text messages. He must really need me, she thought. He hates technology. The burning at the back of her neck intensified. It felt like she had actually been burned with something. She went into the suite's large spa bathroom and turned on the overhead lighting. The bulbs around the vanity flickered on, and she positioned herself to aim the makeup mirror at the vanity mirror. Her disheveled hair covered the spot that felt like it was on fire. "What you doing?" Miguel said, coming into the bathroom and moving up to her, pushing himself into her. He looked at her more closely now in the overhead lighting. She was beautiful, albeit much older than him. He still thought this was a sweet deal, though. "There's something on the back of my neck," Pamela said, turning around so he could take a look. "What is this burning?" she asked, lifting her hair. "Dios mío," Miguel said, crossing himself. "I must go now," he said, stammering, and moving quickly out of the bathroom. "Holy Mother of God," he said, muttering a prayer in Spanish. "What is it?" Pamela was adamant now as Miguel rushed to gather his things. He was definitely out of there. Pamela repositioned herself with her back to the mirror. Holding the makeup mirror to reflect in the bigger one, she pulled up her long blonde hair. There, on the back of her neck, was a perfectly defined red rose. "What the heck?" she thought. "What is this?" She panicked and ran for the bedroom, searching for her purse. What had she been doing? If this was... it was as if she had been in some strange trance. And this thing... this rose on the back of her neck burning into her had woken her up somehow. She needed Edgar. She needed him now more than anything. The suite phone rang and she dashed to answer it. "Miss, there's a gentleman here to see you. He says it's urgent." The front desk clerk relayed the message. "He's asking for your room number," the clerk said. "Shall I send him up?" Pamela was a disheveled mess, but she didn't care. She just knew. "Yes, please, tell him I need him right now," she said, starting to cry. "Yes, miss." That sounded rather British. The clerk ended the call. Pam went to the bathroom and splashed her face with water. She picked herself up off the floor, so to speak, before she could become a tearful mess. The past hours a blur in her memory. What had she done? She hoped it wasn't too late. The burning at her neck subsided a little as she heard sure-footed steps coming towards the door. The doorbell rang and Pam rushed to answer. She flung the door open and walked straight into Edgar Whitetail's strong arms. Hello, friends. Hello. I just wanted to pop in quickly here at the end of these chapters. I did way back in February 2021. I did a show about stigmata and new earth powers, and I brought in these chapters, mainly the last chapter here. With the stigmata, and I brought in some different guides. We had playing around in there as well. We had Archangel Raziel, we had Nikola Tesla come in to talk to us about the stigmata and also to talk to us about telekinesis. So I am attaching that February 2021 show to the Stallion Returns audiobook playlist in YouTube and on Spotify. And I'm going to try to get the links into the description of this show as well, just in case for whatever reason, I'll get the links to the playlist there so you can go find the episode. And you can listen to that at your leisure. But I thought it was a very interesting one, and one that, have I noticed a stigmata yet on myself? No, I don't think I have. But maybe, these are things to come, because I did record that in February 2021. And I remember part of the lesson of that show was that it wasn't time yet for us or the planet or anybody listening to be able to access some of these frequencies. And so I do find it quite interesting that we're doing the audiobook now for the book this is being recorded August 2024, and that episode is being brought back around again. So that was 3 years ago. And when I asked the guides today, well, do you have anything different you want me to share about stigmatas? Maybe there's an addendum to that you want me to do as a result of this audiobook recording. And they said, nope, everything you need is in that particular show. So if that, piques your interest, then I invite you to go listen to that. And we will see you all again soon for the next chapters of The Stallion Returns.